First, open the character blueprint. Move the begin play function up. Add comments to the code. These codes are called create talents. Go to the widget folder. Create a new widget that inherits common activability. His name is W_Gamemenu. Create a new button. Add text. Text is save game. Make the button wrap with overlay. Center button. Add an event to the button. Save the game when the button is clicked. We need to customize the save game. Create a new folder called Savagame. Create a blueprint inherited from Savagame. His name is SG_talent. Open it. Create a variable of type talent compensavadata. The name is compensavadata. Add another in variable. The name is talentpoints. Back to the W_Gamemenu. Set to create SG_talent. Call save game to slot. The name of the slot is called test. Remember to set the Savagame variable. Get character. Find talent component. Call the save instance of the talent component to get the component data. Sort out the connection. Also set the value of talent points. Talent point acquisition is similar to obtaining talent component data. Coming project settings. Set viewport client to common game viewport client. After the restart is complete, open the W_Gamemenu. Check the toBackhandler properties. Then create a new common input data. The name is input_data_talent. After opening it, we need to set an input action for back. But we haven't. Let's create one first. Create a new folder called Input. We put the input-related files in it. Create a new input action to return. Put in the input mapping context as well. Open input mapping context and set a key SC for the back input action you just created. Go back to input data and set it to the back input action you just created. Open project settings. Set common input settings input data to the input data we created. Create another widget to use as the main interface layout, which can stack common activitable widget. His name is W_default layout. Open it and add a common activitable widget stack. Add a function to add children to this stack. It's called pushContentLayer. Call the pushWidget function of stack. The parameter is same as the parameter of this function. Open character blueprint. Move back the code that creates the default game interface. Let's create W_default layout. The code that created W_default game before is not needed. Instead, pass W_default game class to the layout. But there is no way to choose W_default game because it is not inherited from common activitable widget. So we open it and change its parent type to common activitable widget. Go back to the character blueprint and select it. Here we need to get the instantiated W_default game and pass talent to the instance. We go to this function and let it return an instance. Back to character blueprint. Cast the return common activitable widget W_default game. Then set talent as before. We promote layout as a variable. The name is W_default layer. Listen for input event below. When ESC, we open game menu. For pushContent function, select the game menu we created earlier. Let's run it and see. The game menu will pop up when you press ESC, but the mouse is not hidden when ESC returns to default game. We need to change the input mode of default game. Cover get desired input. Change input mode to game. Change capture mode to permanent. Running again, back to default game, the mouse can be hidden and captured. We upgrade a skill and save it. But we can't load the saved data yet. Go back to the character blueprint. Call load game from slip first. The name of the slot is the same as before, it is a test. Cast for our custom Sava game. Load instance of the talent component is used to load data. Call set talent points of the talent points component. We move the code that previously created the talent elsewhere. If for multiplayer game, the data must be loaded from the local player. If there is saved data, call load instance. If there is no saved data, then call create talents. Also set talent points if there is saved data. Remember to activate the talent. Considering the multiple talent switching of multiple characters, it is better not to activate talents fixedly as before. We're going to use async task instead. Before creating the widget, we activate the talent. Use listen for talent changed async task here. Because this tutorial has only one talent, you can activate it directly. Let's run the game to see. After opening the talent, the first node has been upgraded, indicating that the data just saved has been loaded. Pay attention to the talent points here. Let's see if the talent points are saved. Click Save. Rerun the game. A value of 2 means that talent points are also saved. Let's test the quick bar again. Click Save. Rerun the game. After running, you can see that the quick bar has a skill.